Hello, my name is Mr. Granger and I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about the engineering option that's available for years 9, 10 and 11. The syllabus that we follow is not a GCSE, but it's a thing called a VCERT or Vocational Certificate run by NCFE. It has the same status as a GCSE if you're applying to college in years 12 and 13. It's reckoned to have the same level of difficulty as a GCSE, but it's got far more practical activity than the GCSE in engineering would have.
So, have you ever wondered why in science and in maths you learn about electricity and geometry and all this kind of thing? If you've ever wondered what's the point of learning it, the answer is engineering. Engineering is where you draw and make things using maths and science and also using tools and machinery. So, in engineering here, what are you going to learn or what are you going to do? You'll learn how to use a metal turning lathe. We currently have 3 in the workshop and I'm looking forward to buying a 4th one quite soon. The kind of things we make, for example, are the shaft on the spinning top on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we've got a little rotating pen or pencil or something else holder where again the shaft up the middle has been made on the metal turning lathe. You'll notice also the bit at the top is coloured pink. That's done using a chemical process in the workshop called anodizing. So that's part of our chemical engineering activities. We also have 4 wood turning lathes. Most schools have got 1. We've got 4 because we're better. As an example of something made on the wood turning lathe is this little wooden torch on the right hand side. So the students solder together a number of components and then turn the wooden body to fit it all together. The ends of the torch are made using the laser cutter, and we do make quite a lot of use of the laser cutter in various projects in the workshop as well, but not instead of hand tools, always to complement the use of hand tools or machinery. We've also got a wide range of other power tools and hand tools which the students will get to use absolutely every single thing we have in the workshop. You also need to learn to use your brain. Engineering is not an easy subject, but it's certainly quite interesting and an awful lot of students find it good fun, but you do need to think and you do need to cooperate. Will the things you make always work first time? Well, absolutely not, but hopefully we don't produce quite this much rubbish. As well as making things in the workshop then, you'll learn how to draw things well enough so that other people could make them. On the left hand side we can see parts of a mirror frame that have been drawn using traditional methods, using a drawing board and set squares. And on the right hand side we've got a CAD drawing which would be sent to the laser cutter, and again that's part of the torch circuit board. So students will learn to draw things using drawing boards and also using the computers. You'll also learn about engineering from projects that happen all around the world and on other worlds as well. I was very impressed recently with the news that the NASA had managed to fly a helicopter on Mars. So there's a picture of it on the bottom right hand corner. So we're trying to keep the students up to date in what's happening in the world of engineering. Engineers don't all work on the ground. An awful lot of astronauts have actually been engineers. Engineers spend time up scaffolding, underwater, examining, investigating, repairing. You find engineers everywhere. Do you want to understand how machinery works? Well, if you take engineering, we'll help you understand how these sort of things work. Do you want to understand why bridges don't fall down? Again, that's something else we'll learn about. In that case, if you're interested, study engineering. Engineers are well paid. My niece, Roxanne, has recently bought a house. She's an electrical engineer in Scotland and she goes around with a clipboard making sure that everybody else is doing their job properly. So she gets paid well. Engineering is a well paid job and there's plenty of opportunities. Choose engineering if you're keen and enthusiastic. I don't want students who are going to sit at a desk and I've got to push them to get them to move. You've got to be self-motivated. You need to be a little bit okay with numbers so they don't scare you. You might need to calculate angles. There might be other times when you've got to measure, add, subtract, multiply, divide. It's not a full-on maths lesson, but you have to be a little bit comfortable with using numbers. I do set homework. In Year 9, I'll set it homework approximately every second week. In Year 10, approximately every week. And in Year 11 especially, there will be times when you're expected to come in and spend extra time in the workshop after school. The assessment then for the course is based entirely on Year 11 work. There is an exam which is early in Year 11, and we'll work towards that throughout Year 9 and 10. All students that I've had in the last 2 years have sat the exam. Most exams were cancelled, but ours were lucky enough to land just before lockdown on both occasions. They're in November. And we had about 90% of students either got the target grade or got above the target grade. With, on average, in each of the classes, students getting an entire whole 1 grade above their target. Then the other 60% comes from a project that we do also in Year 11. It's where you draw draw the parts of an engineering object and then make it, and you have to write and explain all about it. So there is a reasonable amount of knowledge you need to have and a reasonable amount of understanding, as well as making and as well as drawing. So choose engineering if you like making things. That's the main difference between engineering and most of the other subjects in the school. All subjects have some book learning in them. All of them, you have to learn facts, you have to learn knowledge. The main difference with engineering is that you're doing it in the workshop, and it's, as well as learning things from books, you're also going to be supplementing this with practical activity in the workshop. So choose engineering if you like making things, if you like designing things, and especially if you're willing to try again when it goes wrong, because it will go wrong. I make things and it goes wrong. It's completely normal. So if you're willing to try again when it goes wrong, that's great. You also need to be able to work by yourself and actually, quite importantly, with other people as well. Don't choose engineering if it's just to be with your friends, or if you're scared of new machinery, or if you'd rather sit on a stool. So, engineering, it's my favourite subject. There's an excellent quote from both me and almost all the engineering students. It's remarkable how many parents I talk to at parents' evening and they say, my son or my daughter absolutely loves engineering, it's the best subject. So, thank you for listening. Choose engineering for the right reasons, and I look forward to seeing you.